Welcome to Kingsman Software's Beyond the Build podcast. At Kingsman, we pride ourselves on building enterprise-quality software, and we have the privilege of meeting some pretty interesting people along the way. Come join us to meet the visionaries, the disruptors, the entrepreneurs, and the innovators that envision new technology solutions and then bring them to life. Come join us to hear what happens beyond the build. From the Kingsman Bourbon Studio, this is Kevin Carney, one of the managing partners at Kingsman Software, and I'll be hosting today's podcast. Joining me today is our sound and video engineer, Bill Clarisi, not only our intrepid CEO, but also our resident beer meister. Oh. Say hello, Bill.
Hello, Bill.
Today we're talking to the founder and CEO of Zinnia, Lauren Goodell. Lauren, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we met, back in the summertime at like Tech Leaders Forum, I think, right? Mm-hmm. With you're doing a panel conversation on AI. John Yates is moderating, and I saw what you guys did at Zinnia, and it really intrigued me. I thought it was very interesting how I can get dossiers and all the people I'm about to meet today, or I can research clients as well. So with that, I could instantly relate to it. So give me a little more information about what Zinnia can do for someone. Get some stats, like how old is your company and how many people have used it and things along those lines.
Yeah, so we launched Zinnia about a year and a half ago out of the Atlanta Venture Studio. But the whole purpose of Zinnia is really to drive human connection. So how do you make better relationships with your clients, with your prospects? And really what it does is it plugs into your calendar and says, you're meeting with all these people today. We've all been there, back-to-back meetings where you're like, who the heck is Lauren Goodell? And what are we talking about today? Mm-hmm. And you scramble and talk about weather for the first minute as you're typing things on LinkedIn. And it's like, oh yeah, so okay, who are you again? But really what Zinnia does is instead of having to go search for them on LinkedIn and find the right Kevin Carney, mm-hmm. It pops up and says, this is who Kevin is, a couple quick sentences. And also provides a link to your company and your LinkedIn. So
I've been using this for the past couple of months, and it is spookily, eerily, whatever the word is, good. And it does help me prepare for my day, because oftentimes I mean people like Bill, and I know who Bill is. I don't need to know Bill. But I am often meeting with someone, and there's other people on their team that I didn't realize were on the meeting invite, and it just kind of pops those people in. I know what their title is or what their role is in the company, and so I can, like, you always know the person you're meeting with, and not always the rest of the people that you're meeting with. So that's really been helpful.
Good. We love hearing that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So so that's your daily Zinnia profile, right? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the Atlanta Tech Village and Atlanta Tech Ventures. Give a little more about how you got in there and how that's been working out for you.
Yeah, so I'm a recovering corporate employee. Spent a long time between Microsoft and Salesforce.
Is that a 12-step program?
It feels like 20-step at this point, but it's a process, right? But yeah, I left corporate to start a company in the Web3 space prior to this one. So it was DAO governance, NFT whitelisting. And really through that process, I was able to connect with Catherine O'Day, one of the partners at Atlanta Ventures. And she's incredible. She became a good friend and mentor of mine. And when I was exiting that company, I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do next? I was still in step 3 of the program. So it was like, do I go back to corporate? We've long since passed that step. But or do I start another company? What do I do? And Atlanta Ventures said, hey, we believe in you. We would love to partner with you to build whatever you want to do next. So I ended up joining the Atlanta Ventures studio, and we took some time to really figure out what's the market that we believed in and what we wanted to kind of build.
That is a big transition. I mean, we came from the big corporate world as well, and not everyone can do that, right? There's some comfort and security in having a corporate job and having hierarchy and annual performance reviews. And when you go out on your own, you said you had a prior company before Zinnia, you get everything just like hits you right in the face, right? Like payroll hits you in the face, and the next capital raise, and what you're going to deliver to your customers, and customers saying, I don't like this. Like that's really tough. Yeah. How do you, I mean, seriously, we're joking a little about the transition, but how do you do that? You have to have like very thick skin, or maybe it just it rolls off your back. I don't know. Like how do you adapt to that?
I think spending 7-8 years in corporate sales where you're told no 95% of the time is really helpful. But it's also different when you're, somebody's like, no, I don't want to pay for Microsoft's product that is so far removed from me. But when it comes down to, oh, I don't like what you're building, this is your baby, and getting told your baby's ugly,
right?
You just have to have such deep conviction in what you're doing. And so that's where I feel like with Zinnia, at least, I know that what I'm building is something that I wish I had when I was in corporate. And so it makes it a lot easier to be like, okay, sorry that you don't see this, but I do, right? But yeah, the transition and taking a 95% pay cut was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Yep. We understand that we're building.
Yes, we do, Bert. Yes, we understand.
Does it get better after 10 years? I don't know. We're still at the 95%.
That's what they say.
But this idea of someone says your baby is ugly. I mean, you did pivot once with Zinnia, right? And it seems to be a great pivot. Explain that a little bit.
It has been, yeah. So we launched under the premise of helping automate the way that distributed teams come together. So kind of this future of work mentality where most people are either remote first or, hybrid, and getting teams together. When I was in corporate sales teams at Microsoft and Salesforce, there was many times I got stuck being the person to plan our sales kickoffs and our QBRs, and it's a huge lift and it's very thankless. And so the thought process was, how do we actually automate this process for people who it's not their full-time job to plan these things? How do we make this a higher ROI of, if I am going to pay for 200 of my salespeople to get together, how do we make sure that this is actually impactful?
Right.
So we started by proving out, do people actually need help with this, and are they willing to pay for it? And we did that by just me manually planning offsites by myself for a couple months, which was my worst nightmare. But the thing is, what we learned is people hated doing it, and they were willing to pay to get help planning. Through that, then we decided, okay, it's time to build an MVP, push something out there to show how we can automate it. And what we realized is you can't automate the nuance of events. So while we were actually profitable and we had, 40 some paying customers and it was awesome, we just realized that we are a venture-backed company and we can't have a scalable, services-based company.
It's very linear.
So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is we had paying customers that loved us. We were able to actually divest that part of the business, and they're still sticking with, that team that was doing the manual planning. But through that, some of those customers have now transitioned over to Zinnia as it is today.
So you made that leap of you got 200 people in a room, and those 200 people, while you may have been working on the logistics of that, you had 200 people come into a room that didn't know each other, right? The future of work, they're all remote. Now maybe they know each other via Teams or Slack or whatnot, but they don't really know each other. And what the part of that event is to bond together. But we know it's like middle schoolers at a dance, right? Like everyone kind of like goes off into their own groups and doesn't really mingle a little bit. So you had brought together some information on those people to allow them to connect to people or sit on the right table. And you had a phrase, serendipitous connections, something like that.
Forced serendipity.
Yeah, forced serendipity, right?
So one of the things we started doing with our clients was, they only had sales kickoffs once a year and QBRs, obviously 4 times a year. So, that's called math on the fly. So, but we would have these events.
Is that where quarterly QBRs is supposed to be quarterly? Is that?
Yes. Ours typically are yearly, quarterly reviews.
Or, ABRs.
ABRs.
You can call them QBRs, but also manually.
Yep.
That's an inside joke there.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you needed Zinnia 1.0 to help you plan those things. But we would do these events, and then our customers would be like, hey, this was awesome, but now we have, AWS's Engage conference in Vegas, and we want to have an ancillary event for our prospects. Can you guys help plan that? And what we realized, too, through the process is, while an offsite typically has 40 plus vendors per event, because it's a week-long thing, those kind of ancillary events to conferences or prospect happy hours, prospect events is like 1 to 2 vendors. So that was a lot easier for us to actually automate. And we started doing more of those client-facing events, or what we call RBEs, relationship building events. But where that ended up going was our clients would say, hey, we want to plan an event. How do we actually drive attendance to the event? So what we started doing was pulling the demographic data and affinity profiles of the people they were targeting. So if we're like, hey, here's your 20 targets that are going to this, AWS conference, Microsoft conference, whatever it may be, in Vegas, you're targeting CMOs. 70% of them are female. Instead of renting a football box, why don't we rent out a dry bar salon and give everyone a free blowout and drive attendance that way? And so what we started doing is pulling more deeper profiles on not only demographics like female or male, but also, are these foodies? Are these people that have, are they adrenaline junkies? Should you send them to a go-kart track?
Right. Or a cooking class or a,
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Exactly. And then from there, our clients were like, wait, this is great. We love this, but we don't actually care about the event. We just want this data on the people. And that's really where we transitioned and did the big pivot into what Zinnia is today.
Yeah. I saw someone a couple of years ago talked about an ambassador. An ambassador like got off a plane and there's some guy that hands them a portfolio. They're about to meet the president of Uzbekistan. I'm making something up here. And the ambassador comes off the plane, shakes his hand, and says, "Oh, how's your 7-year-old son doing? And how is your heart condition?" Like they knew all these weird things about that guy, but it made such a personal relationship, right? And they probably knew those things in the first place, but maybe need reminded of them or things like jog your memory. But all of a sudden you get past, like you said, how's the weather and how's Uzbekistan today? You can get to more meaningful conversations. Yeah. Yeah.
We talk about this all the time, but it's like one of those things you go to a dinner party, not even work related, right? And you are sitting there all night, kind of making small talk with somebody next to you. And then 3/4 of the way through the dinner, you realize you both hiked Machu Picchu. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we have this amazing thing in common and we are bonding over this. And now they're my new best friend. And that's where we really say that for serendipity. It's like, instead of waiting 2 hours into a dinner party, you can walk in and know, hey, these are the things that I have in common that I'm passionate about talking about, or even just seating those people next to each other. So you kind of have that, opportunity to connect.
Right. I've always wondered, like, you go to these dinner parties or socials and you do have that coincidental meeting with someone, you happen to talk about the same sort of thing. But I look at the other 19 people in the room and think, what do I have in common with those people? Because I might have something really close to be in common. I grew up near them. We both have a certain make of car. Like there could be something that I'm connected. I don't know what it is. And so by knowing what it is, and you can drive towards that, all of a sudden you've got those coincidences that happen a lot more often.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Makes it a lot more fun.
So we had you in here for our AI Expo back in October, and because we wanted you to showcase, right? So we had Zinnia come showcase, and your showcase, we had people vote and with using like poker chips, and your showcase got the most number of votes. People love it. So clearly there's an appetite for that. And you had a dossier on Bill over here.
Oh, yeah.
Sure did.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh,
but what I liked about that dossier is, you can get kind of like, name, rank, and serial number from LinkedIn, right? I can find Bill's picture. I can find where he used to work. I can find his roles, things along those lines. But I can't find out that, he used to play high school football. Or you've been doing softball for years. Hockey, right?
I never played softball.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Sorry. But you don't find those things. And what I liked about what you had in their dossier is you found some of those things that you can't just readily find. And you also had some of his opinions, because he's been on some podcasts and he gave some of his opinion about how software should be built. And you had some of those opinions in there. He feels like the key to delivering software is X, Y, and Z, and you had that in there. You can't find that from LinkedIn. But all of a sudden you know what makes Bill tick. Well, actually, we don't really want to know what makes Bill tick. But that's
You do not.
Yeah. My favorite
beer makes Bill tick.
my favorite fact on that one was that Bill once dreamed of being a volcanologist.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I still dream of it.
I was like, where did this come from? But apparently one of your podcasts you were on were talking about it.
Yes. Yeah. I think he took Rocks for Jocks and fell in love with it.
I never took Rocks for Jocks.
So you did want to be a volcanologist, and then you realized what?
Oh, that you don't make any money doing it.
And no one wants to leave volcanology, and so there's no jobs.
Yes. What you find out is in geology that geology people live to be 130 years old and they never leave their job. So you either, even if you get a PhD, the odds of getting something, that you want to do is pretty
low.
Yeah, pretty low. Or you're going to get sent out and be working for some oil company in the middle of nowhere. So
gotcha.
Yeah. And I was like, you should probably go back to school and get a real degree.
All right, so we're going to pause for just a second. We're going to go into a fun segment here.
Let's do it.
All right, celebrity dossiers.
Okay.
So if you're using your AI magic, your Zinnia AI magic on some of these celebrities, you would find certain things about them. And I'm going to see if you know what I know that I looked up on the interweb a few minutes ago.
You got on the line?
I got on the line. Okay. Okay, number 1, Halle Berry. Halle Berry was named after A, Halley's Comet, B, a department store, C, Jack Haley, who played the Tin Man in the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz.
We're going to say 3 because it's oddly specific.
Oddly specific, right? Oddly wrong.
Oh,
Department
okay.
store. Where's your buzzer? Where's your buzzer?
Oh.
There you go.
All right,
So
take a drink.
Drink.
So she was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and the department store Haley Brothers was one of the landmarks there.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I guess her mom really liked that. I think her name was Marie Haley, and then they switched it when she was very young. But
Very, very
Now you know.
interesting.
I looked
All
up.
right.
I looked up someone else named Haley, and it was Haley Joe Osment. And I'm like, yeah, I can't work that in there. I see dead people.
Yeah.
All right, so number 2, so Zinnia did an AI dossier on Jake Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal. We know what we're talking about?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Gyllenhaal, I think.
Gyllenhaal. Okay, who is Jake Gyllenhaal's godmother? A, Jamie Lee Curtis. B, Gina Davis. C, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Is it bad that I only know who the first person is?
Oh, you don't know
So-
Gina Davis?
No.
She was in
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. She was in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I did tell
And
you I
Michelle
was bad at
Pfeiffer-
pop culture.
Was what was the
name
high
sounds-
school one?
Funny enough that her and Halle Berry were both Catwoman.
Oh, she was Catwoman, wasn't she? She was also in Grease 2.
Yes, Grease too. Pink Ladies. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
but I hear things.
We're going to go with option B.
B, Gina Davis. Jamie Lee Curtis. You should have picked the one you knew.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Jamie Lee Curtis is close to Jake Gyllenhaal's parents and has known the actor his entire life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Another
right.
interesting fact is that Jake himself is the godfather to Heath Ledger's daughter. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah. All right. We're showing your age, Bill.
Not me, you.
You're older than I am. All right, number 3. Denzel Washington is known for having permanently dislocated a body part. What part? A, his shoulder. B, his pinky. C, his knee.
I think it's Pinky, right?
His pinky.
I think I did know this one.
His pinky is all
Yeah.
it's from
okay.
he played football a lot, and he was a receiver, and he caught a lot of balls the wrong way, and in his words, his pinky finger is now a gummy bear.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And there's pictures of it just like totally, and he's like, yeah, look at my finger. Speaking of Gina Davis, we're gonna bring the picture up, Rush Mealy, again.
Picture of what?
Gina Davis. She's the next one.
Oh.
Think of Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Gina Davis almost made the U.S. Olympic team in what sport? A, softball. B, archery. C, fencing.
Okay, so you said she was in League of Their Own,
Yep.
and that's a baseball movie.
It would be a softball.
So we're gonna say softball.
Yeah, no, archery.
Fascinating. Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
archery.
Wow.
So she took up the sport at 41 years old in 1997, and she placed 24th in the U.S. qualifiers for the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia.
Wild.
Yeah, right? So if you're a big archery fan and you're sitting next to Gina Davis at a function,
Don't piss
there you
her
go.
off.
Yeah.
All right. Now, another celebrity dossier. If you create a Zinnia dossier on Kevin Carney, you would probably find that I like to, A, it's gonna be fine, Bill. A,
Rush Mealy, please get HR on the phone. Have him come
be
down.
ready with the the sensor. A, swim. B, play basketball. C, curl up with a good book.
I'd say B.
Play basketball. So
Because of his height.
in college, I was on the intramural basketball team for our fraternity, and I was on the E team, which is after the D team,
They had that many.
and I was a substitute on the E team. And as my roommate will tell you, my name was Sharkbait
Oh.
because whenever I get the ball, like it's a feeding frenzy.
So
No, I'm horrible at basketball.
You were a substitute on the 5th level team.
Yeah, right.
So funny.
I swim. I swim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Because
swim.
triathlete.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, should have known that one.
I swim a lot.
Silly me.
All right. So now it's your turn.
Okay.
So we do a celebrity dossier
Okay.
on Lauren Goodell. What do we find?
If we do a celebrity dossier, I ran track at University of Nebraska.
Okay.
B,
You're tall. So that tracks. You see what they did there?
That tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that tracks. Yeah.
B, I had a show on MTV about me. Or C, I rescue cats.
Is there a D, like all the above? I'm not buying the cats. I don't know.
Got me.
I'm going for track. Track? I'm going for track. Track.
Please sound the wrong buzzer.
I'm gonna do the mega buzzer.
What was it?
I had a show on MTV
You had a
when
show
I
on
was
MTV?
16 years old.
Really?
Yes.
What would do tell?
I have gotten it mostly removed off of line, so you cannot laugh at me about it. But
I was so searching this out. Rashmi, you on it? Okay.
it was called MTV Road to the Woodies, and
Wait, what was it?
Road to the Woodies.
Okay.
And it was a driving challenge where I would do like driving challenges where I would have to go around different things and speed and go to track. And
What?
if I beat all 5 challenges, I got to go present an award at the MTV Woody Awards in New York.
Oh, what are the Woody Awards?
It's like an indie music festival.
Oh, okay.
But I sat next to Cyndi Lauper.
Oh.
And I hugged
Time
Pete
after
Wentz. I know. I was so excited.
And you had what?
I got to hug Pete Wentz.
Pete Wentz.
Fall Out Boy. My little emo heart in high school. It was
wow,
great.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Fun
So
facts.
you're a driver? You're a racer?
According to my track record with car accidents, I wouldn't say I'm a great one.
Okay.
but
Well,
most of them aren't my fault.
I
Defensive
am-
driving's not my thing.
I have YouTube videos to prove that I'm in your boat there or car.
Yeah. So Kevin, you swim.
I swim. What?
She
She's on YouTube or she's on MTV doing car racing. Yeah, that's cool.
it's about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Same level.
I'm done now.
So funny.
Where were we? Okay, we're done with that page. Okay, so let's talk about your AI and how you build your dossier. So I know we've got the daily dossier, which is kind of a little snippet, and you also are working on your new product, the Zinnia Pro. I think that's what you call it, right?
Yep.
And you're doing some of that. You're feeling it out as you're getting product market fit, and some people are buying it from you. Tell us a little bit about that and how that's going.
Yeah, so we launched Zinnia Daily as kind of that free, thing for people to use to kind of get an experience with Zinnia. But most importantly,
It's a nice teaser. That's really good.
to get as much feedback as possible.
It's like the try before you buy, the dime bags before you get hooked.
Oh,
Something like
yes.
that. All
This
right.
escalated quickly.
It's a gateway drug.
Yeah, it is a gateway drug
Yeah.
to Zinnia Pro for
Going
sure.
back to the 12-step program. Wow.
But yeah, so we really wanted to launch that as, startup world, launch as soon as you can, as fast as you can before you're ready. And we wanted just to get as much feedback and users using it as possible. And with that, people fell in love with the product. And granted, it's not great right now. It's really early, but it is providing a lot of value. And so,
Can I just stop for a second? Because I love that phrase, and that is not that great because so many clients come in and like, I can't release it until it's perfect. And then a year goes by and the opportunity has passed them by. So I love the warts and all kind of approach, but you get feedback, right?
Yeah.
And so why go down the path and make it perfect when no one really wants that?
Exactly.
Love it. Yeah.
Exactly. So we launched that, but we actually, kind of had a greater vision of having a deeper data set and being able to apply your own sales enablement tools and knowledge to the specific person and company you're selling to. And so that's really been the vision. But through that process, we had a couple inbound customers that were like, hey, we love Zinnia Daily so much. We want to buy a paid version with more richer data for our sales teams. And I'm like, it doesn't really fully exist yet, right? We're manually pulling some of this. We have some endpoints we're touching. So we do have 2 paying design partner customers that are working with us to kind of iterate on what's the most important data. How do we want to apply that data? How do we want to match what sales enablement tools you have with this before we ever kind of launch anything publicly. So we're actually not even selling Zinnia Pro yet, and we're trying not to.
Unless someone has a lot of money, then they can buy what they want, right?
Yeah, I mean, we luckily do have inbounds every week of people are like, hey, we're ready to buy this when it's ready. And we're just, trying to take as much time to build the right thing versus just to sell anything.
Right. No, but I like the iterative approach because you'd probably do some human-powered automation there. But until you know what you really want, why spend all the time, effort, money, and paint yourself into a corner when you can just do it manually a little bit and see because your design partners, they're going to understand what they like, what they don't like, what's helpful, what's not helpful. There might be different personas that want different things. I know we've been going through an exercise like this internally, Bill, where it's 2024, we're starting the new strategy for the new year, and let's go look at a new group of target customers and target companies and then people who work at those companies. And our information is thin. I mean, we can go search a little bit here and there, but I would love to be able to go, order dossiers on 20 different companies, or once I get those 20 different companies, know who the people that fit our personas are. And it's a little bit of a reverse of, instead of I know this person, I want to know their information, I might say, this is what I'm looking for. Can you find me the right people to go talk to? So I'm anxiously waiting for Pro to come out so we can leverage it as well.
Yes. Well, we love to hear that too. But yeah, I mean, some of the things that we've been learning through the process too is not only is it important to be able to figure out more information on the people you are meeting with, but like you said, maybe this is a prospective customer. And while this person's my target, is there somebody else at the company that I have a 99% similarity with, right? That I could actually bring in as a champion, create a bond with them, and help them better their own, career, job, position, whatever it may be, in order to kind of continue to make a sale. So
here's a target company that I want to go approach. Is there someone else at that company that when they were 16 years old, they had a episode on MTV, right? Or a show on MTV, right?
Correct.
Then you can just connect with them.
Yeah, because there's those people everywhere.
I know.
So
well, we're not in that group, that league, but we're in a league of our own.
Hey, see what you did there.
Right.
Okay.
Well done.
All right.
So you're grabbing this information. I'm sure you're going to some traditional sources like screen scraping or grabbing APIs or things like that, and then you're also using the AI to do what? Like, how are you sussing out information or summarizing information that you're gathering?
So we really built Zinnia around specifically for salespeople, to make salespeople's jobs easier, to help them better connect with customers. We're learning now a lot of other people are finding, benefit from it, recruiters, stuff like that.
Right, sure.
But really the lens that we're putting on it is, what did I do when I was at Microsoft and Salesforce that made me so successful as a salesperson? And some of those things included reading 180-page 10K reports.
Oy.
And I know it's everybody's favorite book. It's very fun. But being able to understand how executive teams are compensated, what trends are going in the company. We can some of them even talk about where investments have been made in technology specifically. So being able to say like, oh, they just bought this, they're not going to buy this again anytime soon. Or, oh, wow, they're hiring 900 marketing people. They're probably going to buy a marketing technology to support these people. So being able to kind of suss out that information, we're, using vector databases, semantic search. We're layering similarity search in there to be able to help match the right sales reps with the right prospects. So there's a lot of those kind of things. And of course, a thinly veiled wrapper on ChatGPT and sure. Bard and that type of thing too, just to kind of create basic summaries.
Yep. Yeah, that example you use is one of the showcases that we did. I think it was right next door to you. Reagan Barrington and Madison Garrity, right? They did
They crushed it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Theirs was the second highest vote for showcases, but they took a 50-page debt prospectus and loaded into a vector database and sussed out all the details of the tranches and whatnot. So, kudos to them for doing that, because they did it in their spare time as part of one of our Hone Your Craft periods. So the fact that they just didn't know what they were getting into and they just knocked it out in like a week, it was pretty impressive.
Good.
Yeah. It speaks to their talent. Okay, so switching gears a little bit here. Another one of your talents is you're a comedian. Yeah, how'd that go?
Amateur.
How'd it go last week? So explain why you were a comedian. I know I couldn't attend because I had a conflict. I was on a panel conversation, but how did it go? And what did you learn?
Okay, so for context, another fellow founder here in Charlotte, Christine Nicodemus, is amazing. We kind of had this agreement a couple years ago that we were going to just do some crazy, like random things together. So,
holding hands and jumping off the cliff into the water kind of thing.
Truly.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, let's go axe throwing. Let's go do aerial yoga, right? Like, let's just try new things. And that was kind of our goal together, is just like, let's experience new things. And so one of the things that we decided.
Have you done those two things, axe throwing and aerial yoga? Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time?
At the same time, yes. It's very fun. Yeah.
At the same time. That'd be great.
They were actually part of my stand-up routine, so it's great.
Nice. Of course.
What do they call them? Silks? Is that another?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. But we kind of had this goal that we would just do some, random fun things together. And one of the things that we came up with was that we wanted to do stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. And neither of us have ever done it. And we're just like, this would be just really fun. And our goal was to do it at like an open mic night at a brewery where there's like 6 people who don't even care that you're up there, right? Like we were like, let's just get up there, break out of our shell, just do something fun. And I posted on Instagram a picture of me and her of like scoping out our open mic night. And Todd Bulow from Dual Boot was like, messaged me. Actually, he called me immediately and he's like, you guys do stand-up? I said, absolutely not. No, why? He's like, I saw your post and we're having a charity event for Dottie Rose Foundation. Mm-hmm. So if you're familiar with Dottie Rose, it's supporting girls in tech and STEM for students. Mm-hmm. And he was like, hey, would you want to like MC this? It's at Comedy Zone. And then it turned into, do you want to do a 5-minute bit in front of 250 people? Which is what it ended up being.
Wow.
And it was great.
That's pretty bold. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather go axe throwing or falling off those silks.
Yeah, but we raised $15,000.
That's great.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
And it honestly was a ton of fun.
Super unique. Yeah. Yeah. How did it go though? What was your set on?
It was a little all over the place.
Yeah?
I talked about some funny family traditions.
All right.
Yeah, including a family tradition, a family game. Do you guys have family game nights?
Sure. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What kind of games did you play?
I don't know. We have a funny story from Taboo. Taboo? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That goes back to when our son was born. What's a different story?
Yeah, the Goodell family used to play a game called butt darts.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Please,
completely appropriate. We were
go.
fully clothed. Let me just be clear. But you'd put a coffee mug on the floor, and then everyone has to squeeze a quarter between their cheeks and waddle over the cup, and then like try to drop it in the cup. And so introducing people to your family's fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I talked about that a little bit.
This is I've actually done that before, but in more of like a space camp thing where you're trying to aim for like the suction cup on the International Space Station.
Okay.
Which is the thing. You have to learn to practice that too. It's a little like pin the tail on the toilet kind of thing.
Okay.
Where you put something on your butt and there's this Velcro to it and you have to go down and see where you hit, see where you're aimed.
Okay. Yeah. I mean.
Hey,
So what you're saying is parents were training me.
It was all in science, all for science.
They just wanted me to be an astronaut when I grew up.
Butt darts. So,
Astronaut.
Astronaut.
Where
I see what you did there. I need more coffee.
Splashdown. So help me understand. Like, I understand how NASA might start this. How did the Goodell family start this?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
And
you have older brothers?
I do have an older brother.
It starts there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I sent the video to my parents after, and they're like, "You did not tell everyone."
Mom was the instigator, wasn't she? She was like, "Oh, goodness."
Exactly. But no, it was a good time. It was super fun.
Well, that's pretty impressive. And Christine did well too.
Christine crushed it. She's hilarious. Yes.
I would imagine she's got that like dry sense of humor.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll have to get
biting.
the videos.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. Okay.
She's pretty good.
So, just touching on Christine a little bit. So you're part of, is it Gwen?
Gwen.
Gwen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's, female founders. that's how you know Christine, or maybe you know Christine, then you put that together. But tell us a little about Gwen and what its mission is and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so Gwen is Growing Women's Entrepreneur Network, and it's focused on female founders here in Charlotte. And the whole focus is obviously only 1.9% of venture capital funding went to females in 2022.
That's so pathetic.
Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a convoluted issue, right? Like, it's not just that, people don't want to support women, but historically, women take less risks, but also don't have the right amount of support, in so many different aspects. But the whole tagline for it is helping women build big ass companies. And what that means is, do we help them get funding? Do we help with mentorship and support, find customers? Or do we say, hey, you're an incredible entrepreneur, but your idea is not investable, so let's help you find one that is, or help you, grow the vision. But it really started with Ashley Gautreaux is the partner at Creative Co Capital here in Charlotte. And she got maybe 4 or 5 of us together for dinner 2 years ago in January. And was like, there's not a lot of female founders here. Thought it'd be good to introduce all of you guys. Just wanted to start, getting us together to support each other. And it slowly grew into becoming a nonprofit. And now there's over 200 members. And we get together almost, every quarter officially, but this group has really become the complete support system. That is how I met Christine.
Yeah.
Was through that dinner 2 years ago. So,
that's pretty neat. I mean, how do you find, if there are women that are already entrepreneurs, it's easy to bring them into the fold and help them with their journey. How do you find the ones that are stuck at Salesforce? Nothing against Salesforce or Microsoft, but the big corporations, right? We've got a lot of big banks and energy companies in Charlotte. How do you find those hidden entrepreneur women that need to come out of their shell and take a little bit of risk and get support that their idea is a good idea?
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. And we talk a lot about, we use the word wantrepreneur.
Oh.
So it's somebody that's like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm not ready to take the jump. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I need the support. But a big thing that I would say that I would look for, and I talked to Atlanta Ventures about this a lot, and when they're kind of looking for the next entrepreneurs to bring in to the studio, is who is in a corporate job that is going above and beyond to take on stretch projects, to create things. Like at Salesforce, I launched Salesforce Women's Network for the Southeast. It didn't exist. So I became president of that. I was like, all right. I was, doing that while playing Candy Crush on my phone in customer meetings. I was like, I'm bored. Give me something more to do. But you have to find those people that are really trying to, almost be an entrepreneur at the companies.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, as much as I agree with the lack of women representation is not the right word, but it is a guy's market, right? But I was reflecting and starting to write down some of the women I know in technology in Charlotte, and so Christine Nicodemus, she's now with Wayhaven, right? A new venture she has, but she already had an exit from Aperture, right?
Yeah.
We all know Aru from Bot Splash. I had to write all these down because I can't remember them all here. Gloria Folleron from Lean Time, who we had earlier last year as one of our guests.
Yep. She's great.
Yeah.
Angel Rutledge, Sign Up Genius, and Meetify, who we also had as a podcast guest.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Ashlyn Greer from Fashionably, Charlotte Kettlar, Swanet, Lisa Dunbar from Paradigm Personality Labs. I think you made the last couple of introductions to us.
Yeah.
Sarah Garcias Roselli from RevTech Labs. Priya Malani from Stash Wealth. Alexandra O'Rourke from Victoria. It's getting better.
It is.
It's not great, but it's getting better, right? And I completely agree with you. It's a complicated scenario, and it's not one. It's multifaceted. I think you mentioned in an earlier podcast. But my personal experience is I found that there's a confidence. There's a confidence barrier, and I'm speaking from experience from not just women in my life and my neighbors and whatnot, but they are awesome and they rock at what they do. And they'll tell you that they're not really good at it. And I don't know whether that's just being humble or whether they really think that, but I am astounded by some of the things that I see and be like, I'm not really that good at it. What? So this is a confidence boost that people need.
Yeah.
It's really impressive what they can do. They don't realize they can do.
Yeah. We always say, you should walk into the room with the confidence of a middle-aged white man. So
Oh,
no offense
right.
to that. No, it's a good thing.
I
It's
take no offense. I'm way past that. Yeah, I'm not middle aged anymore.
Past
Yeah.
middle age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but you're absolutely right. There's a lot of unearned swagger.
Yeah.
In middle aged white men. Absolutely. Yep. And young white men too. But
That's true. Maybe even more.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for them either.
Yeah. I mean,
No, I'm kidding. We need our allies for sure.
certainly don't want to make it it's a political statement, but there's a lot of unearned confidence in this world that needs to be, and vice versa. So, all right. So shameless plug. I think there's an event coming up. Seed the South.
Yes.
May 14th to 15th.
Yes.
Yeah. And is that being sponsored by Gwen?
So Gwen is, so Jenny Ferris is one of the people that is in charge of organizing it. She's a board member of Gwen, and Gwen will be having some events there, but I don't know if it's exactly sponsored by it.
I went to the
but-
site and they are at least one of the sponsors.
Perfect. Okay,
Yes,
then yes,
yes.
we are sponsoring
Yes.
Seed the South. Yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event though.
I mean, the good part there, whether, I don't know how big of a role Gwen will have in there, but it is the point of it is to provide a forum for seed capital in Charlotte and surrounding areas. And I think a lot of that is geared towards female founders, or underrepresented founders too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So wrapping up a little bit.
Sure.
What is in store for the next 12 months? So I'm going to go on a couple different tangents here. One
Sure.
is what sort of upcoming products and features are you coming up with? And you had mentioned in the past, like when someone walks into Seed the South and you've got a camera recognition going there and you're like, oh, bing, that's Bill Clarisi. And Bill is from Buffalo and used to play not softball, but baseball. Yeah. Or in theory, you can translate that to these Meta glasses. You've seen the Meta with the Ray-Bans, right? The kind of camera built in. So I'm walking down the street and I'm like, oh, that person hiked Machu Picchu. Like,
Correct.
is there weird stuff like that in the future, or at least on the roadmap somewhere, like in the not the far future, but the near future?
Yeah. So on the next episode of Black Mirror, Zinnia will.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minority Report.
Joan is awful.
Exactly.
My wife's name is Joan, so you don't like that episode, right?
Oh, that was creepy. It was really
It's really
creepy.
creepy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, our kind of the next product releases and what we're pushing out is a lot of the features that we have been asked for. So we will kind of start having a Zinnia Daily Plus, if you will, that will actually provide more of those talking points, conversation starters. We'll start layering your bio with the people you're meeting with to actually add a little bit more of that data in there. But the things we're adding to our ability to connect multiple calendars, have public or private events, kind of toggle them on and off. Because I know a lot of people have, personal events on their calendar, and I don't really care that much about what my dentist, wants to do. Yeah, being able to take those things on and off, adding time zone.
How much are they willing to pay for that, though, right?
Exactly. So some of
Besides,
these,
they could ask them questions while they've got their tools in their mouth, or their mouth is all numb, or they'll know.
and they
answers.
always do.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
always ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're adding some of those kind of features to start customizing and really diving a little bit deeper into the daily. And so all of that, actually, our next release for this onboarding will be next week. And then for more of the personalized experience, that will be a paid version. And that we're looking at probably a month and a half out for Zinnia Daily. And then we're just going to keep iterating on Zinnia Pro until we feel like we're in a really good spot to bring it
Okay.
into beta.
Okay.
But yes, like some of the things that we are working on from more of a creative standpoint, or even more of just like a go-to-market standpoint to get excitement is, there's obviously a lot of facial recognition software out there, and being able to pair that and say, hey, this is Kevin Carney walking up here, and he is a terrible basketball player, so don't ask him to be on your team, be able to have those types of things.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
Here's his rap sheet.
Exactly.
So you did mention way back when about how if you did see that 200 people are coming into an event, as they walk in the door, and you knew I'm not doing facial recognition on everyone like Minority Report, but I'm doing facial recognition on 200 people. It's a pretty decent chance I can know who that person is, and I can
Exactly.
just pop up a few predetermined facts on that person as they walk in, right? Like that would be fun and creepy at the same time.
Exactly.
More than the fun, I think.
People love themselves, frankly. Like it's like, oh, what does this know about me? So being able to walk up and say like, oh, this is who it is. But we are wanting to take it just like one step further to make it more fun, specifically for things like See the South, where you can walk up and say, oh, this is Kevin, and you should really talk to Bill because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So that way it can kind of bring in that networking aspect of, you can meet people that you didn't know before and actually have something to talk to them about.
Awesome. All right. So where does someone get more information about Zinnia?
Yes. So
shameless plug.
Getzinnia.ai and Zinnia, Zinnia. So
awesome. Well, Lauren, thanks for attending and thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a blast.
Bill, thank you for doing your sound and audio engineer or video engineer.
You're welcome, but thank me once you hear it.
Rashmila, thank you for organizing us all the time and our social media posts. Appreciate it. All right. Well, you've joined us for one more episode of Beyond the Build podcast, where we showcase interesting innovators in the Charlotte area. Until the next podcast, go build something awesome.